Welcome to Energy Talks podcast. This will be the space for exploring energies, for exploring a joyful life, and for exploring those parts of life that maybe not always be brought into light, but is full of gold, of diamonds, of wisdom, and so much that are not always seen as a gift or as a possibility, but when you're just looking at it from a little different perspective, you will see that there's something there that will change everything. I am Anna Johansson, and I will be with you on this journey of possibilities, more awareness, joy, and fun. So let's get ready for an exploration of new possibilities. Art is something that opens up to the poetry of living. This quote comes from Ivo Cotani, and you can hear it in its full context in today's episode. Ivo is an Italian visual artist specializing in performance and painting. Artistry is a way to express yourself, and in this conversation, we're talking about artistic living. Ivo found that an artistic expression beyond words was easier for him than how we are most used to communicate. That, together with a realization that a 9-to-5 job would not work for him, he chose to create a professional lifestyle based on his art. We talk about how art and creativity connect to life and living, and how it can be a doorway to be more of yourself in your life. I am myself incredibly inspired by today's conversation and by Ivo. He is one of the most non-linear functioning people I know. He has his own way of living in a way, and I am always inspired by people who embrace their difference, their way of being in life. And I am so happy that I get to invite you who are listening to this conversation as well. It was a lot of things that I had been wanting to ask Ivo for quite a long time that I got to ask him in today's episode. And also, since we recorded this, I had a coaching session with him where he coached me on my artworks. And he really has a different way of doing things. It was a very energetic session. Ivo is the first person that I experience was totally present with what I'm creating. When he looked at some of my artworks, he was present with them. And that is very different. It's really different. It's very common. I would say, I have never experienced before someone looking at one of my paintings and not judging it. And with judgment, I mean both positive and negative, because that is also mostly what is it that makes a painting or a painter successful in this world? It's basically some people saying this is a good artist and some people saying this is a bad artist. And what does that even mean, you know? So to be in a space where the painting was not judged, but that got to be in presence, that is doing something. And this is the whole meaning of why I call this Energy Talks. Because what I find is that when we are present, energy starts to shift. Life becomes something different. Maybe you've noticed that if you've been in nature or with animals, they are present. And now the cut comes. I'm wanting to say hi as well. They just are. And what if it's actually possible to be that way also with people and also with paintings and art? So let's dive into today's episode. This was a long introduction, but I hope you will enjoy it. I really did, and I would be so happy to hear more what your thoughts was about this after you have listened. Please send me an email or a private message somewhere, and let's have a chat about it. Enjoy! Okay, so hi Ivo.
Hello, Anna.
How are you today?
I'm great. It's quite hot here in Italy, but I'm great.
Ah, okay, good. I'm so glad to have you on my Energy Talks podcast. Just to, I know that there's so much gold in what sometimes that we have been talking about when we've been talking about art and about creation. And I just knew quite directly when I started this podcast that I wanted an episode with you just to have this recorded, but also to have it in its fullness to reach out to more people that are also looking to be creative in their lives and to just live a fuller life and have more access to different tools, different thoughts, and ways to look at life that can be inspiring and more alive in a sense.
Thank you, Anna. Thank you for inviting me here. Thank you also for these words, because also with you the conversations open up for me a lot of acknowledging also. So yeah, I'm happy to be here and to contribute. So
Yeah, that's so cool. That's amazing. So you are an artist, you are living in Italy and are mainly like basing your work in Italy. Would you like to present a bit more? Like you are a visual artist, a painter and performer. Would you like to talk a bit more like what it is that you do?
Yeah, totally. It's always a great question when you are an artist and you have also different way to express yourself. Well, I can say that I started as a painter and theater actor, and then like the expression through art always changed. And I love to call me visual artist because there is more space in that. There is more possibilities and more way to express yourself. So, and the part of like theater now is like going into performance, and the main way I express myself are paintings now and performance. And yes, I'm in Italy, and soon I won't be in Italy because I'm going to go out of Italy to with my heart. And yes, here we are.
Amazing. Amazing. So, what got you into art?
Wow, that's a beautiful question.
It's
That's
a big
huge.
question, but like,
Yeah,
yeah.
the first things that come up for me when you said that was like I was very little and I was looking to a book, and in this book there were like photos of paintings, and one painting caught me a lot. It was like a painting from Leonardo da Vinci, where there was this angel that he painted. It was so incredible for me to look at that angel. I was thinking like how he can paint angels, where he see angels, and I just started to draw that angel like a lot of times, because and it was quite difficult to draw that angel. And I just start seeing that every element in that angel were different from how really the body is. So that, and from that I started to want to draw. And from that, yeah,
Wow.
yeah.
I'm like, of course it was Leonardo da Vinci that inspired you. Okay. And so, and then like what were the steps like from going, I mean, many children are creative and like we all kind of paint or being creative in some ways when we're small. But then like what were the steps that was like, okay, I'm actually gonna go for this and I'm gonna make a living out of this. I'm gonna call myself an artist. Like how was that process for you?
Well, there are a lot of elements in that. Well, the first element is that it's something that is just a feeling that you have to do something about that. It's just you quite need that. It's like when you start, when you don't do that, sometimes in the many ways it can be, but it's really like you need that, and you feel that something there is not if you don't do that. And also like the difficulty of communication that I had before with people, with persons, with everyone. So if someone has difficult of communication, generally, yeah. And there was these possibilities to do something different with art that is beyond words. And also another element that I really never loved to think myself in a 8 hours, 10 hours work every day. And it was like, how can I do that? So from that, like these elements together were like, okay, I love to do this. I can create a work with this also, because I don't love to do a normal work. So yeah, that was the choice. And but I think it's really like a need that I have to do that, because I can't live without.
Yeah.
Yeah. And sometimes it's quite
Wow.
also strange and frustrating, but I can't live without. It's like sometimes it's like I have to do that anyway. I have to do that.
Yeah, well, I think it's something about so fascinating what you say with that it's uh, like with speaking, or like it's more it's more easier for you, like with that kind of expression, with the visual and with the art. And because just like personally, like you are one of the most non-linear people I know, like how your brain works and like how you function in life. It's like you really have like your own way of doing things, which like before, when I didn't know you so well, I was like a bit like, what is going on there? Like how does he even do things, you know? And then when getting more and more introduced in your world, it's like, yeah, of course, it's just a different way of functioning.
Thank you for this. Thank you. I can say something like the fact is that I was thinking like how many person like during their life have just to talk, just this normality of talking, of say things, of express yourself by living the sameness, I don't know, the normality. And how many people know that and just not choose something different. But for me, the choice of art is choosing something different to be me, basically.
Yeah,
It's like, okay, here I can be me. I can be more of me.
that's so beautiful.
Yeah, and this is very cool because
And
art at a certain point like help you in that, like, because it's cool,
yeah.
because when people start to say, oh, he was an artist, so it's just crazy, but it's okay because he's an artist.
Yeah.
That's a
It's so
beautiful
true, like
excuse.
yeah,
But I'm just
it's
crazy.
true, like in another setting, like if you were working with economics or whatever, it would be like, what is he doing? But then like, oh, he's an artist, okay, it's all right.
Yeah.
So, but I think like that is a great way to play with it, like to play with that we can actually choose different roles. And when we step into that and having space to be more ourselves, it's like easier also for society in a way to relate to us, because I think that is one of the main things, like when we don't allow ourselves to be different, is so many times that like we think that people don't really understand us, or we try to fit in and it doesn't work. And like having the title artist is like almost having like a passage to being different. It's like, oh, it's okay, it's almost, you almost should be different in a way, because then the art is also like a different invitation and
Yeah.
so on.
Yeah, totally. And in this fact, yeah, also for me, like art and creativity is really about life and living. Is not just, it's also like creating paintings or shows or whatever. It's really like be yourself in your life. And when you said like that people has their own personality and character in the world, the fact that really I enjoy about like theater was like, oh my god, I can be everything there. I can choose everything, and it would be not forever, and I can change. So yeah, really for me, the space also of theater and art is really a space of freedom, where you are free and you can also make money for your freedom. So it's very cool.
Yeah, and I think, can we go into that a little bit more? Because I know, I mean, it's um, like going from the perspective of like the starving artist, which is quite an archetype that is not really possible to, that it's kind of like you can live on your art, but you have to struggle. But you have an energy and you also live on your art. Like you have this energy of that it doesn't have to be a struggle really. Like it, you are, that it should be possible to live a thriving life on your art. Would you like to talk a bit more about like your perspectives on this?
Yeah, totally. It's just if someone looks just to the history of that, it's very easy. The history can say a lot more about that because the starving
Yeah.
artist is quite an idea, quite stupid, that was born around 18th century, 19th century, with these French painters that I don't know how to say in English, but that period, you know, in,
Yeah.
in Italian it's maledetti, in English. Wow. And because before the artist was someone who has a business with other people working with him, for him. And also the main artists were people that were very near, like people who has power, who has money, who has also influence, because art before was the main medium to communicate to people. So imagine just the church, you know, it's like you had
Yeah.
to paint to communicate something. So the artist has this big power and was very appreciated. So it has it's really a lie that artist has been like poor. It's just a lie, and people just align to that, but it's not true. It's just a mentality that people has, and it's just changing that point of view, because it's really possible, because art, people loves art, people want art, and why you have to start with your art, basically.
That's so good. I mean, it's so refreshing to hear you say this and also giving like the historical perspective of that. It really gives another influence of it. And also, like, I mean, we both come from really this of like your thoughts create your reality, like you choose the way you create your life energetically as well. And just then looking at choosing the perspective of not even making it relevant that you are starving with the art, but actually already choosing the perspective like, hey, this is working. Like, this is how I want my reality with my art to be.
Yeah, yeah, totally. Should be like proud of you. It's like, for me, it's like really being proud of you, what you create and what you're doing. And if you're not, why are you doing that?
That's so good.
Just to be in struggle with yourself. I know that that period is like, oh, maybe I'm not so good, or that shit like that, but yeah, at a certain point is just be proud, recognize you and what you're creating, and just go with it. Just recognize that it's really a gift. It's something that you can do and other people can't, and people want that. And yeah, that's beautiful. It's more easy. That's you just like open up more and go out of this brain masturbatory stuff about, oh, I'm not enough, I'm not blah 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 blah.
Yeah. Has it always been like that for you, or is that a choice that you've made?
Well, that's a very good question. It was like at the start, I had the point of view that I had to arrive at a certain point of academic acknowledging in
Yeah.
paintings and drawing. It was very fun because when I arrived there, it was like, holy shit, I don't give a fuck of this. It's like, oh my God, it's not what I really want to do. And after that was like just knowing that I'd like to express something about me different, and it doesn't matter what other people say about my works. Really, I love if people say something about my works. It's not just it's not just like, oh, shut up, no, but it's really about myself. It's really about the truth about myself, because when I'm truth with myself, and the piece, the work that I'm doing, it's like truthful for me. So it's just okay. It's just okay. And from that, it's like, okay, so I can ask for money or do it a job or whatever. But from that, it's okay for me. It's just that.
This is so good. I can just like hear people's thoughts of listening to this that is just a little bit triggered from from hearing how easy it is for you. Like you're like this almost of wanting to defend the limitations of like, oh, but that's for you, or like, oh, but that's not how it is for me. What would you have to say to someone that feels like not really in contact with being able to really believe in themselves, or going for a dream that they know actually would be possible, but
Yeah.
just not really going there?
Yeah. It's just like it's quite about courage to be you. It's just courage, and courage is just a choice. You have just to go for that, and stop like telling you bullshit in your mind, and also like recognize that there are a lot of the path that a lot of people think that is the right path in art is not the right path in art. It's just, there is no path in art. There is just you in art with your path. So a lot of people has like standards, like judgment about how things has to be, rather than create something that is really true for them. And then there is the game with yourself, because sometimes it's really uncomfortable also, because art invites you always to be more of you. If you, from my point of view, if you're doing really art. So it's like, I love a quote from Picasso. It's like, I don't remember very well, but he said like, you can copy from everyone, but never copy from yourself. You know, it's like, for me, art is this invitation to be always more, always different, and never to like tell you a lie, you know? It's like, so in that there is the potency like to go beyond that. And it's really like to be like, okay, you know that art is always there for you, you know that you know that, so just be willing to go there. I don't know if I really answer your question, but
No, but it was a nice answer. I think so. Well, yeah, but like, and then even more like this, you said, I mean, you kind of described it, but maybe there's something more there. You said that it's not like one right path, it's only your path with art.
yeah, totally. It's like, yeah, mainly in art, in life, but a lot in art, it's like, there is not the right path to go, because if you try to go to the right path, you're trying to just like do the same that other people have done, because you think that is the right way, but you can never do that. It's just, you can't do that. You can be you can be inspired from others. You can be for something a little bit similar with someone, but you can't do that. So if you try to do that, you won't succeed, never. And you always be stressed about that, because you can't do that. So you have to discover you through the art and through the expression of you. And it's really like a play. For this in art, always we speaks about research, but what the fuck are you searching? The question can be like, yeah, you're always searching, but what? It's like that, the research of you, of more of you, of that. And you don't know really well what it is, but you discover it during the path.
That's incredible. I notice myself that I'm just like being a bit like, okay, it's time to courage up, Anna. Like,
yeah, totally.
Power up, having more courage.
And there is also like this, like, because a lot of people like try to do like comfortable works, artworks. Mm-hmm. But in reality, art can't be never comfortable. Can't be.
Yeah.
Never. If you're doing comfortable art, you're just hobbystic.
Right. Yeah, I saw a quote from David Bowie just the other day that was exactly that. Like, if you're comfortable with what you're creating, or people are like, if you're comfortable with what you're creating, you still have to go like 2 more steps or something like that.
Yeah, totally. For me, it's just waste also of time and materials. Don't do that. Yeah.
So what do you experience when you're painting?
That's huge. It really depends. Because I'm quite always there is this feeling also of dangerous and expansion, and because I really don't know every time what would happen, what would it be. So it's really this discovering every time, and sometimes it's very good if I'm in the mood and everything is like flow, It's like, I don't know, doing a big jump or something great, and you are like, yes, let's go. Sometimes it's just, oh my God, I feel fucking lost here. But it's still being there without lies to yourself, without like going, okay, no, it's okay, everything it's okay. No, if everything is not okay, it's not okay. So for me, that's also like what a lot of real paintings show, that there are like in the past or in artworks, there are painters that paint horrible things, can I say horrible in a way that's very strong feelings, but that are eternal, that everyone can see, that's beautiful. Okay, how they paint that. Okay, or now in the contemporary art, there are a lot of like artists that trying to paint that, but they really don't stay with that. I want to say, are not present really with that, so they just paint the problem, paint the masturbation of that, create the shit about that. Okay, never go beyond that. So it's really been present for me in creation or whatever it is, showing up, be present with that, be very like vulnerable with yourself, and knowing that if you're in that space, something would come up, something great would come up, it would show up.
I think you expressed it so good, like just like, I think even people that are not so into art, like you don't really have to know much about art to still like get a sensation from a painting, for example. And I think just what you said now, this of when someone, it's that eternity, like getting the sensation of it. It's not necessarily the motive or what is on the painting, but what energetically goes into that. And that is where we get touched or moved by art, and some art not at all.
Yeah, thank you for this, because I never see before. It's like, it's really about being present, what's show up in your life, and with everything. Yeah, and also be very honest with yourself, because sometimes it's like the honesty for me is the big thing, because sometimes someone can ask you to do a painting just for money, and you know that, you know.
Yeah.
You just be truthful with yourself, what you are creating with your art. Yeah, that's more easy that it can seem.
Yeah, because exactly, because you can still like choose, even if it's like someone then commissioning or like wanting something specific, but it's still like, as long as you are present with that, you can still like get an energy through that will touch that person in some way.
Yeah, totally. And what people does, a lot of people also that I work with, is like they're trying to not be present, to trying to do the right things, the right way to do that, but never be present.
You mean other artists, or
people that try art or starting art, and there is not the presence. Like there is just I'm trying to do the right things, but also a lot of the, I don't know. Now we are talking about painters, but also a lot of painters in the 19th century wasn't very able to do the right things. They weren't totally. They aren't able to do the right drawing, the right paintings.
Yeah. Say more.
So also like Vincent van Gogh, he studied like some years before he started drawing, and he wasn't totally able to draw, but and then after 1-2 years he becomes more strong in that. But also the first drawing and the first paintings, they were just masterpieces, just art. So it's not because Vincent van Gogh was totally truthful with himself, quite crazy also.
Same thing, maybe. No.
So yeah, it's like, yeah, there is no technique.
So that was not exactly, it's not about the technique or like, yeah, what you perform. It's more like where you are and what. Wow. Yeah. And I guess this is also like why everyone is drawn to different paintings, like with everything in life. Like it's because it almost becomes different vibrations. So, and I believe that everyone, like when we see something that is truthful, that something is source or part of like this eternal universe, we're drawn to that because it's something in us that gets evoked. Like, wow, it's something there. And I feel good when I'm near this, or I'm touched, or something is moving. And that is like a sensation that is able to be in a book or in art or in a conversation, or just these different settings that we can take part of different energies.
Yeah, totally. Yeah.
So would you like to talk some more about your paintings, like how, because I like your style so much, how you paint. You have this, how to say this, just how I experience your art is it's very alive, it's very moving, but it also have this almost childish playfulness that is one of the aspects that I believe that you are so successful with your work, because that is like that is something that so many of us lose the more we grow up, and are always longing for, having that playfulness and just being able to be present with that life is a play.
Thank you, Anna. And yeah, for me, art is always been like a play. You know, for me, it's like life. It has to be playful and a play, because it's just because I love that. And so everything that I do with my art, paintings and other stuff is like about that. And it's really like the experience of that, and not just the piece. So I'm not just creating like paintings to create paintings, but I'm creating paintings also to create experience. So I really love like I don't know, working on my canvas, so big canvas on the floor. I work them, and yeah, I can do different things. I can experiment these different things. I love also to change places where I can paint. I love also like a lot of times have people around. It's really different, and every time is quite different, and it's an experience that I'd like to create from me, just to play. And there is like this aliveness, can I say, that makes me happy, makes me like alive, and yeah, like enthusiastic of living. That from that experience I try to flow and to communicate with my paintings. So yes, is like more a way of living. So I'm quite also a performer when I create paintings.
Yeah. So okay, I want to go like two tracks here, like both the communicating with the paintings, but then also would you like to first go a bit more, because then you say you also a visual artist in a different way and performing. How do you experience those formats differently?
Wow. There are like there are different ways, different energies. I like require both in my life, because usually like paintings, but it has not to be like that, but it's more like with yourself. Okay, there are periods that you are more with yourself, that you have to going with that paintings and stay there, and you're quite alone in your work sometimes. But as I said before, I love to have people around. And the other part of performing is really like creating something that is living there and will be just there, and like and you can have that just in that moment and in that space, and never more, paintings are more something that are about, for me, really the future, and something like the eternity. The eternity is maybe doesn't exist, but it's this idea, because I know that my paintings will live more than me, at least.
Yeah.
And so it's like communicate for something really bigger, for something that is the future. And it's quite, sometimes it's quite amazing, sometimes it's quite scary. I think also that a lot of people have so fucking fear of painting, of visual art, a lot, for this reason, because they perceive that the things will be seen maybe in 200 years, 300, or what else.
Yeah.
And
Wow. I just get so inspired by this and by you and by your how much you allow yourself to live. Like you see that you are different, like you go your own way. It's really I just have to like I'm so inspired right now. It's really amazing.
oh, thank you.
Because also like this is I don't know, at least my brain can so easily go into comparison. So when I hear someone doing something I find inspiring or amazing, I so easily with my thoughts go to comparing myself to that experience. But I'm like now, even like in this conversation, like just trying to go instead to the space that you're talking from, like the space from that you create your life, that energy that is your way of accessing these experiences and sensations that you like to create your life as. And that is what everyone can do. Like even everyone here listening, like even if some people here have never even touched a painting brush or and not dreaming of that at all, like these are still energies and choices to make that we all can access in so many different ways to live a fulfilling life.
Yeah. Wow. Thank you for this. Totally. Because it's really like, it's not about the art.
Yeah.
It's really like living an artistic life. It's like what you want to create as your life. For me, really, art is something that opens up to the poetry of living. How can I say, something that can open up differences? Because if you start to do art like a normal job, you're just doing art as a normal job. There are a lot of artists that today are doing that are doing the same art of everyone else, painting, I don't know, the same hours a day, blah 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 blah. So go to try a job and maybe it's better. it's really, and these possibilities to art for me basically is that possibility to create difference, to create something not specifically new but different, where you can enjoy it, and you can be more of you. And for that there is also a lot the part of performances, because it's very involved in that, like with performances at theater you show also a different way of living, It's like in that moment there is something different that happens that go beyond the reality, the normality, and you can show a difference, and you can live that difference, and people can touch that difference also.
Yeah. Oh, wow. This is so fucking beautiful. I'm so happy for this conversation. Like, just personally, I'm very happy for this conversation. And because that is even like one other point that also for me is so important. And just like with like what energies we make accessible with art, with our way of living, which I think also, which is, I mean, why I even do this podcast, is how I experience it is that if we don't know we have a choice, we won't choose it. But when we have just that little seed of a different possibility, we can actually choose a different experience. And that is what I get then, like with every painting, with every performance, with every way of just like every word, everywhere that we're being, and also like in life in general, like how we are with our family members, in what settings we are when we're in the grocery store, like what energy do we choose to be in and what are we focusing on, because that is what creates different realities and a different experience.
Yeah, totally. Wow. And also these things about seeds, thank you for the people who will hear it. It's like there is no really an how to do that. There is no a how, so it's just going for that. It's like how can I say, the art itself will show you the way,
Yeah.
and be very like present with that, be very like with what is available, and not looking for what is not there, because I've learned a lot by theater with that, and I'm really grateful for my teachers. It's like you can create an amazing shows that can last like 1 hour, and there will be just you and a table, and people can see everything, can live everything, can be everywhere, so
Yeah.
it's just looking for what is possible and what is available to create something different, rather to figuring out what's right to do with this stuff. It's like, yeah, having a oh my god, I'm going to do that, say that, having great sex or not having great sex.
Yeah. It's true. Like,
if you start to figuring out everything, it doesn't work at all. It's like not at all.
no, because again, like you can choose the experience. Like it can be very many different ways.
Yeah.
And then it's like, what experience would I like to have? So I wonder about like going back to you communicating with your art. We've been having these conversations a bit before, and this is like also what I was talking with Heather about in the first episode, how each book, each painting has their own energy. It's really like how I see it, almost like an entity that has its own just non-physical form. It's like an idea coming to me, and together with me I can co-create that into physical form in form of a painting and so on. Is that how you experience it as well? And how does the communication look for you when you paint or when you perform?
Yeah, yeah, totally. It's like it's also like, as how can I say? Do you understand me when I say matryoshka? Matryoshka.
No, not really.
No, the little doll, Russian doll, one in another. You know.
Okay, yeah.
It's like, because there are more like energies and entities, can I say, because a lot of times I work on projects, so there is the energy of the project, you know, and a lot of times the project has like more paintings or more stuff in. There is paintings or perform or whatever it is. There is this energy, and then there are others energy in. So yeah, it's like way to totally connect with that. Also, like, to be very aware that and this is very, very, very important for people who starts and really like going art. It's really important to be aware that you're not your art, because if you start to think that you're your art, you can go totally crazy. So, yeah. So it's like, be aware of that.
Oh, yeah.
And
Elizabeth Gilbert has a really, really nice TED talk on this, where she talks about, like, also in the ancient times and in Roman times and so on, it was like you really saw that an artist had a creative genius, and it, like, everything did not come through the artist. So if it was like a bad work, you could blame the creative genius, and if it was a good work, you would like applaud the creative genius. And kind of in that way also having this of separating yourself from your work, that you don't have to go crazy if depending on how someone else receives your work, because it's actually like its own energy. I think that's an important thing.
yeah, totally. It's not you. So yeah, it's like, and it's also more easier to interact with that, to be with that, to everything, because if you acknowledge that is something different from you, so you start also to acknowledge more what is really required for that to be created. And
exactly, and there you can have like a conversation.
Yeah, totally. Quite a conversation. Yeah, it's like when I say conversation, I specifically say something that for me are sensations, are perception of something, are, because it's very cool art, and it's very cool like also painting, because when you are like in a white canvas, you can do quite everything. So where do you start?
Yeah.
You start because you're following something that is not you, it's something else. And when you are in that flow and the stuff like function, is because you are really connect with that and hearing that and knowing, without really knowing before, without really project nothing, what is the next. Yeah,
it becomes almost like a dance.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, and it's very cool because this is also something that I teach in past. Like, I've seen that a lot of people who want to be better in like drawing has the fantasies. This is very fun. The first fantasies of people in drawing, that they can really draw the what they imagine. What they have.
Say more.
Yeah, because people are like, oh, I have this imagination in my mind, and they has like this projection in their mind, and they want to draw the things or paint the things, and they never succeed because they can't, basically, because it's impossible. Basically, it's just a projection of what you think it should be. It's not what it can be.
And so what do you mean to do instead?
That's a beautiful question. Is what you have said before is a dance. You start
Yeah.
and then change, and then you start perceive something different, and then you see that go in other direction, and then you do something different. It's like be present what shows up in every moment, and so you can start from an idea, from an energy, and then following the path something will show up, but can be that projection. And a lot of people stops doing art or drawing or whatever
Right.
because as projection.
Right. Right, because then it will become a disappointment instead if it doesn't show up exactly as the image in the head was.
Yeah, and for
or
this,
so on. Yeah.
I always recommend to see also the great masters, the paintings or whatever, also Michelangelo in the Cappella Sistina. There is no one body that is a real body. There are that doesn't function as that body that didn't exist, and people think they are very real, but no. I always say to people who try to do very realistic things, go to look at Michelangelo. It's like, yeah, there are too much muscles. They are very strange. If one of that body exists, that would be very weird. And yeah, it's like very strange.
It's true.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that is how just when I am painting as well, like sometimes I say almost like I have two different ways, like either like having a blank canvas and just free flowing, and it kind of like takes me on the road as I go. But then, which is mainly how I paint right now, is I almost see I have like the picture in my head before. But what I like with the conversation we just had about this was, and I was reflecting about it for myself, is that I less and less get rigid with that it has to look a certain way, and instead letting the painting, when I start and I know kind of where I'm going, but on the way there it can look very different, and it can take some different directions that just brings me more to the sensation that was connected with the image I had in my head, rather than having the perfect result.
Yeah, totally. Is like that. Is like because it's like you have to include your like the material part, because art is material, and we just I have this idea and I will impel this in the world. It's like, no, there is like Canva materials or other stuff, or if you work with people, and everyone is different, and everything is always different. The interaction of everything will create something different, and for me, it's really always an exploration. The more you go for that, the more easy can be and more fun.
So I know also that it sounds so fun to say it, so I'm going to say it, that you have conversations with the grandmasters.
When I have breakfast, it's like for me, it's like it can be like an imagination or whatever it is. Like I always had in my head since I was like a child, because I grew up like also with not so many person around doing art, and I always like love to look at old masters and everything, and start like conversation with them and communication, and for me are quite real. It's like I can really speak with them, and it's very cool because I can say that my really teachers are they, and not the teachers that I have had. It's like, and one of my favorite to speak is like Picasso, and another is Leonardo, and it's very cool because when you like just connect to them or communicate with them, you can perceive the difference of them, and it's like having someone always that support you, basically. They're very cool, basically. It's not just a normal teacher.
I think that was like when I first heard you say this, that was like my first reaction, that um I just know for myself that I can sometimes feel alone in my creation. And when you said this, I was like, yeah, of course, like we can really invite different energies and not just the energy of the painting or and so on. It can actually be like, because when I hear you speak about this, for me that is more than just inspiration. It's not that you are inspired only by Picasso. It's more like you are in contact with how he creates, like what energy he is, and that brings something into your artwork as well.
Yeah, totally true. And yeah, totally, it's like being connection and also receive like the that energy, that communication, that contribution, and also be very present, because also in that, if you're not present, sometimes are people who paints like an old master, or I don't know, as someone else, you know. You start if you're not present with you, with this interaction, you just start to, how can I say, to go for that path, to like give your hands to someone else, you know, and rather to create like a communication, a co-creation with them. And I've seen this a lot with my work, because when I started to do that, there are periods that I just be more with an energy, and it was like, oh, you seems more like Picasso, oh, you seems more like that, you know. And so it's really be aware of that, and also be like aware of you in this, and going for this co-creation, just to just also for the fun of it. It's just fun. Yeah. And they have so good tips, so yeah.
Yes, it sounds like you're having a good time.
Yeah.
And would you like to say more about like actually finding your expression in art?
Oh wow. Huge question. Find your expression. It's like is what you like to do. For me, it's really like, what do you like the world to be, something like that. And from that perception, that energy, that whatever it is, starting to create your life and your art is not nothing mental. It's just what you are, basically. It's quite difficult to put in words, huh? It's very
Well, you really delivered an energy with the first thing you said, so
yeah, is that the world that you would like to live in. And art for me are also these possibilities to show up something that is possible, but only you can see, or can perceive, or can know. So it's that possibility to say, hello, there is this. And also that has also this bit of power art that shows also the big like limitations of,
say more.
yeah, like, and a big limitation of a period, of a culture, of everything.
Right.
It's
Yeah.
like, it's very like, it's for something is like healing. It's not the purpose for art for me, healing. So not like the one whole healing art, it's not, but yeah, like the second stuff that comes up is healing, because there are like the more horror, more terrible painter or artist that, you know, creates something that is more like have that feelings of terror or something in that, like, I can say, a field, you know, that when are really art, they are showing something that no one else would like to see. But when you show that, you just start to acknowledge that, and everything will just change from that. So for me, art has this big two potential, no? To show possibilities for the future, and also to show this big stuff that no one wants to see.
It's nice. When you speak, I see a part about art that I've never seen before, and it's almost like that art itself is neutral, and it's just like highlighting the energy that we put into it.
Yeah, totally. It's neutral. Yeah, it has to be that. Or for me, my point of view is not art. Give me your material and don't do art.
Say more.
I was joking. It's like if like if you're not neutral in art, neutral in the way like presence, it's like if you're not, if you don't have to do that. It's like it's not just politics. You can't do politics or something like that. It has to be something different. I know that a lot of people has different point of view on this, but yeah, it's my way to live art.
Yeah, because you can really do anything with art and call it art in a way, but many people will probably not agree about that it's the same thing.
Yeah, totally. Because everything that men call art is art.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I really liked that we kind of touched on the energy behind paintings and so on, like how that is actually, I suppose, how I see art. Like if someone just do something and puts the label art on it, it's like, okay, sure, that can be one point of view, but like I suppose just that for me it's more like when you look at something or you almost interact with the painting and afterwards your life is not the same.
Oh. Yeah, that's beautiful. It's like that's wonderful. That's, you can say that, and you can also receive that from art, because maybe it can be really for me a purpose of art, like to create a different experience, a different possibilities in the life of people who experience it. It's really like transformation. From my point of view, art is like something that has to transform you as an artist and the people, the person who you communicate with. It's like a transformational tool.
So cool.
Yeah. Oh, never seen so before. Yeah, but it's that transformational tool.
Yeah, and then it's just like what energy we put into it. So you put a lot of like playfulness and joy into your art. Because I just difference, you said like that your art is not your heart. It's not the purpose of healing, but maybe healing is a side effect of the joyfulness and so on that you deliberately choose.
Yeah, totally. It's like I know that, and also like while you like start doing art and more art, and then you start also to acknowledge what typologies of, how can I say, energies, or is more with you, or you are creating, and it's always has like having a partner in that, and you also start to acknowledging also better rationally what maybe you are communicating to people, because it's not rational for me art, but after a while you can see that, but my heart show a lot of time these with these, and for this culture, for these people, meaning this and this and this. So you start acknowledging also what you are really creating in the world with that. I know for me, like there is this joyful expression, and there is also this a lot of time exuberance of bodies, or this like nudity or sexuality exposure that, but is made in a totally different way. That's
I was just gonna say like that. sexualness, like more like that energy of aliveness, of of this energy that is just so present.
Yeah, totally. And so for me, I know that there is another possibility is that not so much people lives in their world, in their life. I know, and I really know now that my art is going for that.
Would you like to say more about that?
It's like that possibilities that future, that possibilities that maybe I know, but not so much people know about, like sexuality or bodies or joy. And for with my paintings, it's really show up a lot. So people can't like relate really to my paintings. Oh, there is pornography here, It's
Right.
totally different. So they like start to perceive something different with bodies, with sexuality, with what is this, and they start to like questioning themselves also in that, because
Yeah.
they start to see something different, and maybe in the future they will start to choose something different about that. And that's cool.
And I suppose this is I mean, it's so beautiful. And that is also the aspect what I think can be so provoking. That when you stand and look at something and you're like, well, this is not a choice I'm making, or getting like more curious about, then again, like it just evokes different energies, and just being like, okay, but how do I live my life? And what is this evoking in me? And do I want more of this and this different energy?
Yeah, totally. Yeah. Let's do the art changing the world.
I know, right? That's so good. Well, amazing.
Yeah.
Is there anything else that
I'm very grateful to this
on your
conversation.
heart?
Really, is like, yeah, just thank you for you. Thank you for everybody who will hear this conversation. And yeah, whatever it is, if there will be question in the future, I'm happy also to yeah, to have another something. And
Yes.
and it is, for me, is really an invitation to be alive and to live your life as you
Yeah.
want, as you dream, and go for that. And you will make a lot of shit around, sure, but go for that and make it dirty, and don't worry, and enjoy it, and go for that. That's my answer.
Thank you for being a living example of just living your life.
Thank you, Anna.
So, where can people find you?
Well, with my name, they have my website, www.ivocotani.com. That's in English is more like Ivo Cotani. And you can also Google me, and you can find me on Facebook, Instagram, around. Yeah.
Amazing. And you, because I also know that you, I mean, you have your paintings. If someone's interested in your paintings, they can find it on your website and contact you, I suppose. But you also have like coaching and things. Like if someone wants to explore their creativity with you,
Yeah,
right?
totally. Thank you for that. Yeah, there is also in the website, they can see something about the academy. But if they contact me also directly, it's okay. I'm very happy to see what's possible and which way I can contribute. So yeah.
So amazing. Okay, amazing, Ivo. I am so grateful for this conversation, as I've said several times already. But it's really, yeah, I definitely going to re-listen to this. It's already been changing things in my world, and it would be lovely to have another conversation with you
Yay.
sometime.
Thank you, Anna. Thank you very much. You're wonderful.
Thank you, Ivo.
Bye.
Bye. Thank you for listening to Energy Talks podcast with me, Anna Johansson. I hope you enjoyed today's episode, and if you did, please share it. Please share it with a friend that you think might like this. Please write a review on iTunes or wherever you're listening to this. Share it in social media, and if you want to get in contact with me, that's easiest through my website, annajohansson.com. Enjoy your day, and what else is possible now? Bye.